The ceiling fan whirred like a dying helicopter, blades slicing through the stale air of my apartment with a rattle that had been building for weeks, a metronome to my unraveling life. I stood on the rickety stepladder, screwdriver in hand, sweat beading on my forehead despite the chill seeping through the window from Seattle's relentless November rain. One slip, and I'd be the idiot in the ER with a fan blade embedded in my skull, fitting in for a guy who'd already let his heart get mangled beyond repair. But then the knock came, sharp and uninvited, like fate deciding it wasn't done kicking me while I was down. I yanked the door open, ladder wobbling behind me, and there he was, Wyatt Kane, my neighbor from across the hall, all broad shoulders and faded flannel, toolbox dangling from one calloused hand like it weighed nothing. His dark hair was cropped short, military style from his Texas ranch days, and those storm gray eyes locked on mine with a mix of amusement and that easy confidence that straight guys like him wore like a second skin. "Heard the racket from my place," he drawled, voice low and warm, carrying the faint twang of West Texas dust. "Figured you'd finally bite the bullet and call someone. Or is this your half-assed DIY therapy session?" I laughed, too sharp, too quick, stepping aside to let him in, the scent of sawdust and clean sweat trailing him like a memory I didn't know I had. Wyatt had moved into the building 6 months ago, fresh off a divorce that he'd mentioned exactly once in passing. Something about his ex not handling the long hauls on oil rigs. We'd nodded hellos in the elevator, shared a six-pack on the fire escape during a Mariners game blackout. But this was the first time he'd crossed my threshold, and the air thickened with it, charged like the storm clouds bruising the sky outside. He glanced up at the fan, shaking his head with a grin that crinkled the corners of his eyes. "Christ, Declan, you're gonna bring the whole ceiling down. Hand me that ladder. I'll sort it." His hands brushed mine as he took the screwdriver, rough and steady, sending a jolt straight to my gut that I hadn't felt since Ben, my ex, the one who'd ghosted me after 2 years of whispered promises in the dark. I busied myself clearing the coffee table, stacking takeout containers like armor, but my eyes kept drifting to the way his shirt stretched across his back, muscles shifting under denim as he climbed. Wyatt worked methodically, humming some old country tune under his breath, something about lost highways and second chances that made the room feel smaller, warmer. "You know," he said, twisting a bolt with a grunt, "back in Lubbock, my old man had me fixing windmills before I could drive. Said it built character. What's your excuse for letting this thing turn into a war zone?" I leaned against the wall, arms crossed to hide the tremor in my fingers. "Excuses? Nah, just been distracted. Work's a grind, and the rain doesn't help. Makes everything feel like it's underwater." Truth was, Ben's absence had turned my apartment into a tomb, photos tucked in drawers, his favorite mug shattered in a fit of rage I'd regretted at dawn. But Wyatt didn't need to know that. He was straight as the arrow of his ex-wife's alimony checks, the kind of guy who high-fived buddies at dive bars and eyed the baristas with lazy appreciation. Harmless flirtation fodder, nothing more. He paused, fan blade still in hand, and looked down at me. Really looked, like he was seeing through the cracks. "Distracted, huh? You look like hell, man. Rough week." His tone dipped, concern threading through the drawl, and for a second, the ladder seemed miles away, just us and that suspended breath. I shrugged, forcing a smirk. "Rough year. But hey, at least the fan's getting fixed." He chuckled, resuming his work, but the air hummed with something unspoken, a current pulling at the edges of my carefully rebuilt walls. By the time the fan spun smooth and silent, the rain had picked up, drumming against the panes like impatient fingers. Wyatt wiped his hands on his jeans, surveying his handiwork with a satisfied nod. "There, no more chopper blades. Owe you a beer for the entertainment." He lingered by the door, toolbox at his feet, as if testing the waters. "Beer sounds good," I said, surprising myself. "Fire escape? Mariners highlights on my phone." His grin widened, boyish and unguarded. "Deal. But next time, call me before you play electrician. I like my neighbors in one piece." He stepped into the hall, but that glance back, quick, loaded, stuck with me long after the door clicked shut. I sank onto the couch, staring at the ceiling where silence now reigned, wondering if the Real fix had just walked out my door. The fire escape that night was slick with rain, the city lights below blurring into neon halos through the downpour. We perched on the metal grating, backs against the brick, passing a six-pack of Rainier like old war buddies. Wyatt's knee brushed mine accidentally, or was it, as he stretched out, boots scraping the rust. "So, spill," he said, cracking another can. What's got you twisted up? Girl trouble? Work sucking the soul out of you. I took a long pull, the cold bite grounding me. Girl trouble. Classic deflection. Ex trouble. The kind that leaves you questioning your taste in people. Ben's face flickered in my mind. His laugh, like summer thunder. The way he'd trace my collarbone in the mornings, promising forever until the closet door he'd cracked open slammed shut again. Coming out at 25 had been a revelation. Losing Ben at 28 felt like relapse. Wyatt nodded slow, staring out at the Puget Sound's distant shimmer. Divorce'll do that. Mine was messy. Thought I had it all figured. Big house, steady job, the works. Woke up one day, and it was all smoke. His voice roughened, fingers drumming the can. Makes you wonder if you're built for any of it. We sat in that quiet stretch, the rain a soft veil between us and the world. I wanted to ask about her, the ex who'd traded his ring for freedom, but instead, words tumbled out unbidden. Ever feel like you're fixing everyone else's shit but your own? Like you're the duct tape holding it together, but inside, you're fraying? He turned, eyes catching the faint glow from my apartment window, and for a heartbeat, the space between us shrank. All the damn time, Declan. All the time. His hand landed on my shoulder, heavy and real, squeezing once before pulling away. But hell, that's what neighbors are for, right? Patch the leaks till the storm passes. We drained the beers as the night deepened, stories spilling like the rain. His tales of dust-choked rodeos and starlit truck beds, my confessions of late-night coding marathons and the ache of empty Sundays. Wyatt laughed easy, a sound that rumbled through the damp air, chasing shadows I hadn't noticed clinging. When we finally stumbled inside, soaked and buzzed, he clapped my back at my door. Night, neighbor. Don't go breaking anything else I gotta fix. I watched him disappear into his apartment, key scraping the lock, and leaned against the frame, heart thudding, uneven. Straight neighbor. Just a beer. But the warmth lingered, a crack in the ice I'd let form around me since Ben. Maybe, I thought, sliding the bolt home, some fixes started accidental. Days blurred into the gray Seattle grind. Me hunched over spreadsheets in a glass tower downtown, Wyatt's truck rumbling out at dawn for whatever contracting gigs kept his hands calloused. We'd nod in the hall, exchange texts about bad traffic or the latest storm warning, but that night on the fire escape hung between us like humidity before thunder. Then Friday hit, a deluge that turned streets to rivers. I got home soaked, kicking off boots in the foyer, when my phone buzzed. Fan holding up? Beers at mine. Got brisket from the smoker, Texas style. Wyatt. My pulse kicked up, traitorous. Hell yes. Gimme 20 to dry off. His place was a mirror to mine but rugged, tools scattered on the kitchen counter, a worn Stetson hooked by the door, walls lined with faded photos of sunbaked plains, and a younger Wyatt, arms slung around a brother with the same gray eyes. The air smelled of hickory smoke and leather, a world away from my minimalist IKEA regret. Brisket, huh? I teased, accepting a plate piled high, sauce tangy on my tongue. Trying to convert me to the dark side of meat? He smirked, forking into his own. Darlin', once you go brisket, you never go back. The endearment slipped casual, but it landed like a spark on dry tinder. We ate cross-legged on his couch, a baseball game flickering muted on the TV, the rain a constant underscore. Talk turned personal again, inevitable as the tide. Ever think about leaving this rain-soaked hellhole? He asked, head tipped back against the cushions, beer bottle dangling from his fingers. All the time, I admitted. But Seattle's got hooks in me. The water, the mountains. It's like it mirrors the mess inside. Calm on top, churning underneath. Ben had hated it, the gloom, the isolation. Called it my emo backdrop, once, laughing until I didn't. Wyatt's gaze sharpened. Mess inside. That ex of yours. He do a number on you, didn't he? No judgment. Just that steady probe, like he was mapping terrain. I hesitated, fork midway to mouth. Yeah, he did. Said he loved me, then bolted when it got real. Left me picking up pieces I didn't know were shattered. The words hung heavy, vulnerability I'd armored against since. He set his plate aside, leaning forward, elbows on knees. That's bullshit, Declan. Real love doesn't bolt. It digs in, gets dirty. His voice dropped, raw edge glinting. I learned that the hard way. Thought I was playing it safe with her. White picket fence, Sunday barbecues. But safe ain't love. It's just surviving. The room shrank. The game forgotten, rain a roar in my ears. What would real look like for you then? I whispered, the question bolder than I intended. Wyatt's eyes held mine, storm-dark and searching. Hell if I know. But I know it when it's staring me in the face. He reached out, thumb brushing a sauce smudge from my lip. Slow, deliberate, the touch electric. Time stuttered. Then he pulled back, clearing his throat. Shit, sorry. Brisket brain. I swallowed, heat flooding my chest. No harm. But harm? It was a gateway, that brush, cracking open doors I'd nailed shut. We cleaned up in charged silence, plates clinking like warnings. At the door, he gripped my arm, grip lingering. Thanks for coming over. Feels good, having someone who gets it. Anytime, I murmured, stepping into the hall, pulse a drumbeat. His door closed soft, but the echo of his touch followed me home, unraveling threads I thought sewn tight. Straight neighbor, my ass. Or maybe not so straight after all. The following week dragged, laced with stolen glances in the laundry room. Wyatt loading his jeans into the dryer, me pretending not to notice the way his shirt rode up, exposing a strip of tan skin scarred from some long-ago fall. Texts pinged late, storms biblical. You good? I'd fire back quips about building an ark, but underneath simmered that pull, magnetic and forbidden. Then Thursday, everything tilted. I came home to find my door ajar, a note taped to the frame in Wyatt's blocky scrawl. Water stain on your ceiling. Leak from my place? Come up, let's check. Heart slamming, I knocked on his door. He answered in a towel, hair dripping, fresh from a shower, steam curling behind him like invitation. Hey, bad timing. I blinked, heat rising unbidden. No. Leak. He waved me in, grabbing jeans from the couch, dressing casual as if my stare wasn't branding him. Yeah, pipes groaning upstairs. Thought it might be dripping into yours. We headed to my place, him in fresh Henley, me hyper-aware of every step. Up close, the fan's base showed a dark bloom, damp seeping through plaster. Wyatt cursed low, fetching his toolkit. As he patched, on his knees amid drop cloths, I handed him tools, our fingers tangling once, twice. You're a lifesaver, I said, voice thick. He glanced up, gray eyes smoldering. Just returning the favor. The air crackled, words inadequate. When he stood, close enough to feel his breath, he didn't step back. Declan, that night, the brisket, I haven't stopped thinking about it. My throat tightened. Me neither. His hand cupped my jaw, thumb tracing my stubble. Tentative, then sure. This is crazy. I'm not. I mean, I've never. But his lips crashed into mine, desperate, tasting of mint and uncertainty, a dam breaking after drought. We stumbled back, fan forgotten, world narrowing to heat and hunger. His hands roamed my back, pulling me flush, a groan escaping as I nipped his neck. Clothes shed in a frenzy, his shirt over his head, revealing ink across his pecs, a lone wolf howling under full moon. My tee discarded, scars from Ben's barbs laid bare. On the couch, he explored me like uncharted land, fingers tentative on my hips, mouth learning curves with reverence. God, Declan, he murmured against my skin, voice wrecked. You feel like coming home. I arched into him, whispering his name like prayer, the rain outside a symphony to our unraveling. For the first time since Ben, I wasn't fixed. I was alive, cracks glowing with light he'd unwittingly poured in. But dawn crept gray, and with it, doubt. Wyatt stirred beside me, sheets tangled, his arm heavy across my waist. He woke slow, eyes widening as memory flooded. Shit, he breathed, sitting up, running hands through his hair. Last night, that was real. I finished, propping on elbow, hard in my throat. Wyatt, talk to me. He swung legs off the bed, back to me, shoulders tense as wire. I don't know what the hell that was. I'm not gay, Declan. Never even. Christ, what did I do? His voice cracked, Texas drawl sharpening with panic. The words landed like shrapnel. I sat up, sheet clutched to chest. You kissed me. You wanted it. That's what you did. He turned, face ashen. Yeah, and now it's blowing up everything. My ex, the guys back home, they'd laugh me out of town. I'm not built for this. He grabbed jeans, dressing frantic. I need air. Space. Wyatt. But the door slammed, leaving echo and emptiness. I curled into the pillows, his scent clinging like accusation. Fixed? No. He'd pried open wounds I'd bandaged, left me bleeding anew. The ceiling fan spun mockingly above, silent witness to my folly. Neighbor? Friend? Lover? Or just another straight guy playing at edges before retreat? Days stretched into a chasm. Wyatt avoided the hall, his truck absent from the lot. I'd hear it peel out at odd hours. Engine roar drowning questions. Texts went unread, knocks unanswered. Seattle's rain turned torrential, mirroring the flood inside. Ben's ghost joining the fray. See? They always run. Work blurred. Colleagues chatter white noise. My reflection in the high-rise windows hollow-eyed. One night, desperation clawed. I pounded his door till knuckles bled. Silence. A neighbor poked head out. He packed up yesterday, Declan. Said something about heading south. Family emergency, maybe. South. Texas. Home. The word tasted like ash. I slid down the wall, head in hands, sobs racking silent. Betrayal? No, worse. Rejection of self, his and mine intertwined. I'd let him in, believed the fix was mutual. Now, alone again, the broken thing stared back. Not the fan, not the heart, but the armor I'd mistaken for strength. Weeks ground on, winter biting deeper. I threw myself into routines, gym at dawn, runs along the waterfront where ferries cut fog like knives. Friends dragged me to bars, their pity veiled in shots and small talk. Plenty of fish, man. He's an idiot. But fish didn't mend fractures, they swam past. Then, mid-December, a package thumped against my door, unmarked, heavy. Inside, toolkit, worn and oiled, a Stetson, brim curled from use, and a letter, Wyatt's scrawl shaky. Declan. I'm a coward. Drove straight back to Lubbock, buried myself in ranch work, told myself it was a fluke, a beer-fueled mistake. But every night, under that big sky, it's you I see. Your laugh in the rain, the way you look at me like I'm worth fixing. I'm not straight, not anymore. Or maybe I never was. Just scared shitless of the truth. I'm coming back, if you'll have me. Not to fix fans or leaks, but us. Whatever this is. Wyatt. Tears blurred ink. The hat smelled of him, leather and hickory. I clutched it, pulse thundering. Coming back. Risk. But wasn't that love? Not safe harbors, but storms brave together. January thawed slow, snow dusting the sound like forgotten promises. I waited, letter folded in pocket, heart a pendulum. Then, one sleety afternoon, truck tires crunched gravel below. Footsteps on stairs, heavy, hesitant. Knock. I opened, breath held. Wyatt stood there, duffel at feet, eyes red-rimmed, jaw shadowed. Declan. I pulled him in, doors slamming, mouths crashing in reunion fiercer than first. Hands fisted shirts, apologies murmured into skin. Stay, I gasped. Fix this with me. He nodded, forehead to mine. Yeah, together. We rebuilt slow, nights tangled in sheets, days mapping boundaries. Wyatt quit the rigs, started a local crew. I opened up about Ben's barbs, the closet's long shadow. Fights came, his doubts flaring like dry grass, my fears whispering retreat. But we talked, raw and relentless, forging steel from rust. Spring bloomed green along the waterfront, cherry blossoms defiant against residual chill. One evening, fire escape reclaimed, beers cracked, Wyatt slipped a hand in mine. Ever think about more than neighbors? He asked, voice steady now. I squeezed, city lights winking below. Every damn day. He kissed my knuckles, soft. Good, 'cause I'm all in. In that moment, Seattle's rain a gentle mist, I saw it. Not fixed, but whole. Cracks gilded, stories etched. Love wasn't a repair job. It was the courage to let the broken shine. We walked the pier that summer, hands linked casual, world none the wiser or wiser be damned. Wyatt's laugh boomed over waves, mine lighter, unburdened. Ben faded to footnote, Wyatt anchored present. One dusk, as gulls wheeled gold, he dropped to knee, rings simple, silver band etched with lone wolf. Marry me, Declan. Not 'cause it's fixed, but 'cause it's ours. Tears pricked, joy sharp. Yes. Vows exchanged in a backyard affair, friends toasting under strung lights, his brother clapping shoulders, my sister wiping eyes. No fanfare, just us, two men from fractured starts, choosing each other daily. Years on, in a house overlooking the sound, Wyatt's tools in the garage, my novels on shelves. We'd argue over dinner, make up in the dark, watch storms roll in from the porch. Kids? Not ours, but Foster's, hearts mended in tandem. The ceiling fan in our bedroom spins quiet now, a reminder. He fixed more than blades that first day, unraveled fears, rebuilt trust. And me? I fixed him right back, showing a man from straight arrow planes that bends make the strongest paths. In the end, it's not about labels, straight, gay, broken. It's grace in the gaps, compassion for the fixer and fixed alike. Freedom to love as the heart demands. Identity, a river carving canyons deep. We choose, we heal, we endure. And in that choosing, we find home.